The Emperor has foreseen a new threat rising against him. The Podwans Podcast.
Now we got sound. Hopefully.
We do now. Anyway, what I was saying earlier, technical difficulties. Anyway, what I was saying originally was season 3 of the Mando rewatch is going to be very interesting now that we know the release date for Maul Shadow Lord.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to double down, I guess, for a little bit.
You guys are gonna get fucking. Basically, we're doubling up like how this week was. You guys are getting that for pretty much all of season 3. Y'all are gonna like that.
Oh yeah, because we're gonna have to talk about Maul. Yeah,
you're gonna have like the first half. It's gonna be the first 2 episodes of Maul or whatever episodes we're on. 2 episodes of Maul, and then we're gonna pivot in the middle of the episode to Mando season 3.
And literally whatever else pops up in those 5 weeks.
And probably Mando and Grogu stuff too.
Yeah, probably. Unless we get screeners or some shit, which I highly doubt.
We know people that have screeners. We could reach out. I highly doubt we'll get access to it, but you never know.
That's another conversation for another day. We are here to talk about Maul Shadow Lord.
So yeah,
first thing off the rip.
Yeah. Also, can you do that intro again? Sorry, I just started recording the VOD for this.
God.
No, the Maul
it.
Shadow Lord one.
Oh, okay. We're talking about Maul Shadow Lord. Trailer just dropped. It was sick. Really, really, really excited to watch this. I think it's interesting that it's 2 episodes at a time. Why are they doing 2 episodes at a time? I think it worked well with Andor, and I think that's something that they might want to try.
Yep,
or it's an arc to arc because there's time jumps.
So
obviously,
yeah, it's a 10 episode. They are being very careful of not saying season or limited series or anything like that, but it's 10 episodes, 2 episodes over the next 5 weeks. And they said, quote, and it's a super fast-paced series. We wanted to create an action-packed thrill ride, something that had the rush of a roller coaster. So we do a lot of homages to classic serials of the day. This show is highly serialized, very connected all the way through. So there's it doesn't seem to be any filler or like, maybe one-offs or something like that. It seems like it is all very much connected from start to finish.
One cohesive story. That's somewhat good to hear. We're obviously gonna get the 8th brother and the 11th brother as well.
I think that's the first. That was the first brother.
The first brother.
Yeah, Marrok's the first brother.
Yeah, because they confirmed that in Tales of the Empire.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which. I forgot which one.
Crow Mask. Crow Mask.
8th brother. No. Keep going. I'll look it up.
Maybe he's the 11th. I don't know, but the trailer looks pretty sick.
Going into this trailer, I was kind of hopeful that my opinions would change since the announcement, because I was like, okay, maybe the trailer will change my mind. Maybe I'll like start to like it and get into the idea. But I'm still like, this is a show that's not for me. This is very much the kind of edgelordy kind of like Clone Wars fans that haven't really got out of their Clone Wars phase and just want more Maul Glupshido content.
Wow.
Interesting.
I was not expecting that.
I mean, the thumbnail kind of gave it away what my reaction of the trailer was. I kind of did that on purpose. Not just for contrast reasons where I was like, oh, I want like 2 different contrasts. No, that's legitimately my reaction to the trailer was. It's like, it's very much like, okay, this is how I felt at the time when it got announced was this show is very much appeasing to the people that are not really happy right now with Ahsoka, the Acolyte, that kind of like content sphere, and Andor and that kind of stuff. Like they were, it's like very much giving into that. And
I disagree. But go ahead, continue.
No, it's like giving into that, and it's like I felt like, because like don't get me wrong, like when like Rebels was airing and like when the Solo reveal happened, like I think that was when I was the peak of the most interested in the idea of like, oh, what was Crime Lord Syndicate Maul like? Like I felt like that's when I was starting to peak that idea. Now I'm kind of like post Rebels with Maul's death, and now we've already had all these different waves of TV shows. We just had the Bad Batch. I'm kind of getting Clone Wars out. Like I'm kind of sick of seeing this animation style. Kind of tired of going back to this era of like, don't get me wrong, I love the Imperial Reign era, but it's like we just had a TV show in this era, guys. Like, can we please go to something else for 1 second? And so like I feel like those aspects combined. Also, I felt like I was hopeful that they were going to do this story. It wasn't going to just be a Maul protagonist story. I was kind of hoping it would be like from another person's perspective, because like I was really at the time like, sorry, I'm just jumping around, like I remember like thinking like when Jedi Survivor was announced, I was like, oh, that'd be really cool if it was from like the Mantis's perspective. Like the fact that it's from Maul's perspective, it was kind of like the most boring outcome they could have picked for the show, because we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but there's so much possibility. We don't really know what he was doing all that time. I mean, he was getting Black Sun, but
no, he's basically because he says it in the trailer. Like he's like we want this crime syndicate to dismantle an empire.
But we never really got like the synopsis for the show is fairly intriguing. With the runaway Padawan.
I think that's the thing I'm the most fascinated by is the Padawan. I feel like that's where the show could get interesting. Everything else, like doing with Maul and the Inquisitorius and Crimson Dawn, we already kind of have an idea for how it's going to go.
I think I like it a lot because I think Vader could show up if there's a season 2.
But like,
I want that.
I remember joking about that in 2020 of like what a Vader Maul scene would be like. It would just be Vader throwing Maul against the wall and Maul being like, "Oh my God, you are so scary!"
Well, the other thing is, it's like he talks about it in Rebels.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Rebels basically hints at like
we will probably get Vader Maul here. I guarantee
it's gonna be the season 1 finale
or pin ultimate episode that's going to be there.
Fuck yes!
Assuming this is like a one and
that's
done
why
thing.
I'm saying like that's why I'm doubling down on my belief of this is the fucking Edgelord show.
No, it's not the other.
I don't know if it's
giving into the like it's giving into like, you know, like okay. I wish Chase was on this episode. Like, you know, like those like early 2000 like people that only care about Revenge of the Sith and the Clone Wars. Yeah. This is their fucking show. This is like their bread and butter. This is like who only cares about the lightsaber boom boom and the boom boom and the Vaders and the.
Sometimes I just like to turn my brain off and watch Star Wars. Okay.
Well, so I have no doubt that when they were figuring out what the next animated show was going to be, it's like, all right, who do we target as like the general audience? But at the same time, it's like, I think there's probably a bit more to it than just.
Well, like I also felt like
one of the main writers, for example, for Maul, he wrote the Emperor arc in the Clone Wars. There's some dialogue in this trailer that's like, damn, Maul's kind of spitting here. Like, it's not just gonna be like flashy combat with your, you know, mix and matching action figures here, and I think it's gonna be a bit more serious than people would expect.
Yeah, I also felt like I could just tell from the trailer that's also kind of the vibe they were going for. Like the fact that it said from the creators of the Clone Wars, not from the creators of Clone Wars, Rebels, and Bad Batch. The fact that it just said the Clone Wars was kind of like, okay, that tells you that that's their demographic. Like rip.
Well, it looks like Rebels towards the end of the trailer, believe it or not. It looks a lot like Rebels. And
No, I'm just saying like you could tell from the marketing that's what they're going for.
yeah, probably, but no, I thought it was really interesting. I think it's a really cool concept. Seeing Maul and then like the possibility of getting Vader would be sick as fuck.
But here's my thing, like
that'll actually happen though.
Like the show should have came out 7 to 8 years ago. Like I feel like this is just like 8 years too late.
Maybe.
Because like I think like 8 years ago, like because like 17, 18-year-old me would have been like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. Oh, I can't wait to watch Vader and Maul fight. And now I'm like 24-year-old me is kind of like
31-year-old me loves that concept. I
because
love
like
it. I don't think you can really blame it on being a kid.
No, but it's like what does a Vader Maul fight really add outside of just it's a tie into Rebels?
So time out. That's the same thing that people said about Obi-Wan Kenobi. What does it add?
Well, here's the thing. Obi-Wan's a different story because like the original trilogy was like I think it's a different fucking situation because like I felt like it adds like clarity to Return of the Jedi. It adds more to Luke's story. It adds more to like how like Obi-Wan tried to actually reach out to Anakin and actually tried stuff. This doesn't really add anything because it's just going to be two people. It's the two former Sith Lords fighting each other, and neither of them are going to get like anything is going to happen.
I don't know. We don't know that.
They say it in the trailer. Palpatine wants you dead.
Yeah, which means if the Inquisitors don't get it done, obviously they'll have to bring Vader in.
I also am tired of this. I think this is the other thing that's kind of giving into this feeling of kind of just like with Vader is like I'm kind of tired of Vader always being the end game for the Empire of like we need a hype moment for the Empire. Let's bring in Vader. When I'm kind of like, can we get a fucking hype moment for the Inquisitorius? Like I just want something different because
Jedi Survivor.
like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, Rogue One, Rebels.
I mean, it seems like, I mean, sure, Vader comes in probably to finish the job, but it from the trailer, it looks like they're going to get their moments.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'll be the final. He'll be like, "Fuck this! I am done listening. I'm done."
Also, like I see the chat. Also, I'm not ignoring you. Chat of like, X-Squared said 42-year-old me is hype. It adds that it's cool as fuck. And then Kenny goes, Maul still has a lot of unknown story to him. Give it a chance. Like I'm going to give it a chance when it comes out. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna watch it for reaction. I'm also not gonna fucking like. You guys know who I am. I'm not gonna fucking grift into this shit. Like I feel like I'm willing to give it a chance and like
absolutely 100%.
And like when I critique stuff on these channels, like I'm always going it at the lens of this is just how I feel about it. I'm not gonna like I'm not the type that like we're not gonna fucking make it our entire personality that like, oh, Harif does not like Maul Shadow Lord. Like this is like the channel's identity. Like a lot of Star Wars content creators will do. I will say my opinion once per episode or per 2 episodes and just move on.
No, yeah, 100%. I think, and I don't want to invalidate your points. Your points are very valid.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. I'm just excited to get like one animation over 2 years. You know what I mean? I mean, we did get Tales of the Jedi 2 years ago.
We had Tales of the Empire.
Tales of the Empire.
Tales of the Underworld was the most, or sorry, Tales of the Underwhelming was the most recent one.
Oh yeah. Well, the Bounty Hunters, Tale of the Bounty Hunters.
Dude, like,
I liked it.
I liked it. It was just average.
The character has lots of story potential to tell. Doesn't mean it needs to.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick.
Interesting. It'll be fine. Everybody is allowed to have their opinions. One thing that I will say is that we have 5 people in here, and there's only 1 like. Come on.
Damn, calling people out.
Wow.
I'm that one like.
Stone Cold.
Likes.
I was that one like, by the way.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it for supporting your own channel. I greatly appreciate it.
Wow, that like what the hell was that? Anyway.
Gang. Anyway.
Yeah, again, like I am curious about like the Marrok tie-in, like how the fuck does like the Night Sisters like use Marrok as like a weird zombie thing. Why Marrok specifically? Why couldn't it just been any other Inquisitorius? Like what makes him kind of special? And
I don't know.
like I'm curious about that kind of stuff too. Like obviously, bookshelf behind me being like a canon fucking nuthead. Like I'm curious about like those little fine little things.
All the little details.
I'm curious. Like they didn't show her in the trailer, but like Kira has to be involved some way.
Not necessarily.
Not this soon. Not this soon.
This is only a year after the Clone Wars.
Yeah. This is a year after the Clone Wars, but it seems like
Kira
Kira isn't what captured by Dryden Voss until what roughly 4 to 5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Is it that? Hold on.
Really?
I need to find a
Thank you.
timeline.
Thank you. 6 likes. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, we won't see Kira for a long time. If this is an ongoing show.
Because she would be what?
She's still with
10?
Han. She's still with Han right now.
She's
absolutely.
10 years old,
She's very
right?
young.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
Because Luke and Leia are 10 years younger than Han. Han's like 30 and they're like 19, 20.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the timeline
Han
for
is 19 at the beginning of Solo, 22 when he meets Lando and Chewie, 32 in A New Hope. That's
So 32.
No, I'm also looking at the timeline for Most Wanted because that will also give us a really good idea because that's when it's the Han Kira book. So that should also kind of give us the idea of like when does she get captured by Dryden Voss. That year, give me oh my god, do I have to go to like the Wikipedia canon media timeline for this? This is so stupid.
Utini should have a timeline as well.
Oh, Utini. I always use Utini as well. Utini's
yeah, their website's kind of weird when you kind of look for the timeline.
Nerds. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I just tried to. Hey, it's useful to know these things, okay?
It is very. Or I could just get out my handy dandy timeline book.
No, that's too much time. I'm gonna find it faster than you. Okay. Most Wanted is near Tarkin. It's in 13 BBY. So we got 12 more years, guys, until Maul and Kira interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Han was an Imperial cadet in 13 BBY. So yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, we're 6-7 years. I didn't.
Oh my god!
Oh, you son of a.
To be fair, I did not mean that. When you look at 13 BBY, 13 BBY, and you know when the Clone Wars ends, I did not mean that.
Nah, I'm sure.
I mean, it's unavoidable at this point.
Anyway, I'm really excited to see this, like low-key.
I just want to comment the art. The way it's painted, the coloring.
Oh, speaking of...
Especially like the backgrounds. I just want to like do an excerpt from the StarWars.com article real quick.
I will say, speaking of which, starting to undercut that, the poster for this is fucking awesome.
Yes.
I really love the teaser they put out yesterday.
The poster it just rips.
It does rip. That's pretty sick. I like that a lot.
But on StarWars.com it says cinematography, lighting, and visual effects director Joel Aaron really took it up a notch with going back to the practical ways of capturing brushstrokes by painting them on glass, shooting them, then strategically placing them in shots. He even went back to establishing matte paintings on canvas. There's always different challenges with every show that we do, but this one in particular raised the bar. We also wanted the animation, body mechanics, and the facial to be more fluid from our previous work in animation. Director Keith Kellogg worked closely with CG, and our internal animation team to upgrade the performances of our main characters.
That's so sick.
There are some good looking backgrounds.
Yeah, there's some good looking shots in this show. Absolutely, 100%. I'm really excited to see this.
I will also say, just because I also am a curious person, I also was like glancing into the comment section just to see what because the hellscape that is YouTube comment sections. I was just like, I'm curious what people are saying about Maul Shadow Lord, and you scroll 2 or 3 comments and you already get, oh my god, there's too many Jedi after Order 66, and I'm it's like, here we go, we're back in the fucking dungeon again.
I'm so happy I've not seen any of that so far, so and I refuse to.
It's like, bro, how many times do we have to explain there were 20,000 Jedi Knights during the Clone Wars, and there's roughly 100 during the reign of the Empire. That is a 99% kill rate by the clones.
I've made the video. It's not good enough for people.
Like, I am tired of this talking point, but like, I do love how kind of the trailer did address that with like it opening with Maul talking to her and like the whole idea of like her kind of just explaining to Maul like, we're always in hiding. Will we ever come out of hiding? Like, is this just going to be the remainder of our life? Like, I love how it's kind of starting to like, I know it's kind of been talked about a little bit with Ahsoka, a little bit in Jedi Fallen Order, but like, I like how she's just outright saying it to Maul.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm curious.
My reaction to everything from today.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And like, I'm curious like what the scouting team on Coruscant was like. I'm assuming it's like the same scouting team as in Jedi Survivor with Cal Kestis is like Coruscant crew that like Saw Gerrera was kind of working for, because they're wearing very similar outfits to that opening mission on Jedi Survivor when like Bo rescues you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious like who is she working for? Like, because it's clearly she's not like fully in hiding. She's kind of like Bo, where she's just kind of like just walking about.
So you're saying that Order 66 was not as effective as Lysol? That's hilarious. I love that. X-Core. Thanks for joining the chat again.
And then you got Nick saying Maul's going to meet this person and say, "Aren't you supposed to be dead? I thought you were all dead."
Dead. Yeah. Pretty much. No, I'm really excited for this. Comes out April 1st, right? April
6th,
right?
Monday.
Yep.
They have not confirmed a time. I don't remember. I'd have to look. Did Visions come out in the evening, or was that an early morning?
No, it came out. It came out the usual.
morning.
It came out the. I thought it came out the usual time for Star Wars. It's like the.
I think
3 a.m.
No, the
Yeah,
other
3
usual time, like the.
No, like in the evening.
nine.
In the evening.
I want to say the
Yeah.
box that I got had the time, but I have to go digging.
But I will
don't know.
also
They
say-
have not confirmed a time yet.
But
for
I will
this.
also say I'll say all the dates just because we're listing them off. So episode 1 and 2 is on April 6th. Episode 3 and 4 is on April 13th. Episode 5 and 6 is April 20th. 7 and 8 is April 27th. And then 9 and 10 will be released on May the 4th.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And then
That's pretty
Nick
cool.
just came in the chat and confirmed that Visions was a morning release. I doubt. I think Maul Shadow Lord would be the Bad Batch Ahsoka time where it's 6 o'clock Pacific.
I think the last season of Bad Batch might have been a night. But
Yes, 3 a.m.
I really hope. I watched.
Just release it like at 6 o'clock. Just
I
put
don't
it
get
in
why
that
they don't do that with
normal.
animation.
Like
Uh,
I
don't
also.
think, well, they might know Daredevil might be a Tuesday release. They
Oh
haven't-
my god, I forgot about Daredevil.
But if they're releasing on Monday and Daredevil's Tuesday, then I see no.
Oh my god, I forgot about Daredevil in this equation because Daredevil drops in March, right?
yeah.
It should. They haven't released a trailer for the season, so which I'm surprised they haven't.
So these
so
two
I would
shows are going to
allegedly-
overlap each other for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was peak.
Oh, March 4th apparently for Born Again season 2, so literally a month before, and that is on that's a Wednesday.
I mean, there's 48 hours between the shows. I'm sure they'll breathe.
Let me see if that's confirmed. Let's see. What this...
I also don't think they're the same audience.
No, but I still don't think they would want to compete if they don't have to.
No, yeah.
I mean, an hour animation, and then 45 minutes to an hour.
Dude, so in March, just for context, we're going to have Daredevil Born Again. We're going to have Invincible. We're going to have The Boys. And we're going to have Maul Shadow Lord all going at the same time. Y'all better
Suit up,
free your
bitches.
schedules.
Suit up, bitches. All right. That's it for Maul Shadow Lord talk. Now we really get to talk about Peak. Boys, let's talk Mando season 2, episode 8, correct?
Yep.
Episode kicks ass. It
Yeah.
kicked ass. It deserved.
Go, Ryan.
It deserves
Ryan.
it deserves its high user rating.
Go.
At times I do not agree with user ratings because they can be easily influenced. People when Andor season 2's like episode ended and they had some of its highest episode ratings ever, like in IMDb history, and people noticed that Mando season 2's finale was on there and they were confused why. When I rewatched it just now, I 100% understand why it was rated so high.
I just hope like Mando and Grogu has like 10% of the sauce that this episode had.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the music alone is just.
Oh no, it's Ludwig Göransson's best work on the entire show. Like there's no doubt about it.
I was talking to Alanis about it, and we were watching it together, and I was like, this is where Ludwig went. Oh, I want some EDM. Let's do some EDM, yeah. And it's like, dude, great choice. Great fucking choice.
It was the so moment. Good. Like I know he was doing like some light work on like obviously like before this was like Black Panther stuff, and like I feel like after this, I think composers sat up and went, "Holy fuck!"
EDM. All right, that works.
Because like since season 2 ended, like he already confirmed he's coming back for Mando and Grogu, but like he didn't do season 3 or Book of Boba Fett.
He wrote the theme for season 3 or for Book of Boba Fett rather. He wrote Boba's theme, and then he had somebody that he worked closely with actually compose it.
No, we're not talking about the Masters of the Universe trailer because I didn't watch it.
So, but
I'm
like,
not a true nerd.
I will say, like, I love how, like, from the jump of the episode, like, this episode immediately kind of grips you with Boba, like, boarding Dr. Perishing's ship, and, like, I love that fucking shot of Boba and, like, Slave One behind, like, the Imperial, like, land shuttle.
Yeah.
And, like, just the amount of fear, like, the cinematography, because, like, Peyton Reed, I might add, was on his fucking game this episode, director wise. Mm-hmm. Like the way, like he kind of directed the cinematography to like to have it like on like fucking Pershing things like face, and like you can kind of like immediately sense the fear from all 3 Imperial like agents, and obviously Pershing being working for the Kaminoans. And then I love the way like the shot opens, and I love how like they kind of like, the joke tension of like Din being like, hey, I already know you, and like oh, they immediately kill that like tension of like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And then I love how like the one guy immediately stands up and is like, all right, I'll tell you anything, and we'll do anything you want. Like I don't care, and then like that one Imperial just fucking shoots him in the back of the head, and you're just like, yep, this episode still has the fucking sauce.
Yeah, it's still got the sauce, brother. It is. So
and I will say,
good.
I mean, obviously this is Cara Dune's last episode. This is probably like her best episode of the entire show. Like without a doubt. Like that one scene in the opening with Alderaan.
Yeah.
Like that's where her character just kind of peaked, and then it just fucking obviously all the shit happened and she fucking went off a cliff.
100%. I love this episode.
Yeah.
I just love this.
And
episode.
then
It's just so good.
And then we moved into the next peak scene, because we're just went from peak to fucking peak. Yeah. And you get Din and Boba meeting up with Bo-Katan. And like we get this fucking peak of a scene. And I love how like Bo-Katan just immediately is just like, you know, all Mandalorians are bounty hunters, right? Like we're not just gonna fucking join you on whatever fucking quest you guys want us to join on. Like y'all have something interesting. And I love how Boba is just like immediately the most standoffish, dickish character in the entire scene. And he's just like, fuck the Mandalorians. We don't really need her. Like we can go fucking, we got this shit, Din. We can go fucking fuck up Moff Gideon ourselves. And I referenced it earlier in episode 3. This has like one of my favorite like meme moments of this like the like in the fandom, because you got Koska Reeves and you got Bo-Katan, and it's like, where the fuck is I forget, it's like what Wolf something
Axe Wolves.
Axe Wolves is like, where the fuck is Axe Wolves? Is he just in the bathroom during this entire scene?
Yeah,
he's just taking a massive shit in the back, and then he just comes out. And he's just like,
he's not present at all in this episode.
What the fuck?
No, or he's like, I just imagine him like Bo-Katan and Koska Reeves like put like the most insane bar tab imaginable, and he's at the bar just paying it off as all this shit's going down, and he's like in the back just fucking negotiating, just credits like, okay, how much do I have to pay you, and then like they're fucking like, I just imagine him coming out after all this like fucking scuffle ends, and he's just like, where the fuck did they go?
Yeah,
like,
no, he's what the fuck?
Oh, Plo Koon.
Yeah,
Plo Koon spotted.
yeah, like, where the fuck did they go? And like, I also love the little moment with Bo-Katan calling back to the Clone Wars, with Boba being like, I recognize your voice. I've heard it thousands of
times. Yeah.
I still like. I still find that like a little interesting because it's like, because I remember like 2020 me, like obviously like being deep into fucking Clone Wars. Like I always, when I think about clone voices, I never fucking think about Tamora Morrison. My mind will always go to D. Bradley Baker. Like that's just who I associate with the clones, even more than Tamora at this point. So like when she said that, it's just like, I always like even if you can remove the whole D. Bradley Baker thing, I've always thought Boba sounded different than all the rest of the clones. Like he's always had more of a gruffer, like rougher edge to his voice, more like a Western cowboy than traditional clones.
I would agree with that.
And then you get fucking like this fucking showdown with fucking Boba and fucking Costco Reeves just having like just like a show off. Like I love like Costco Reeves being like, I'm gonna put you in a fucking back tank and that's what you're gonna live for the rest of your fucking life. And you're just like, goddamn, Costco.
Nice job. Good callback. I mean, not good call back, good call forward, I guess you could say, because technically that does happen. But not at her hand. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
We'll start with Book of Boba Fett.
And then I just
and we know that Char will be here for every single one of those.
Oh,
episodes.
for sure. That's a for sure lock. And then I love
all these episodes are peak, bro.
I just fucking also love how like the last like 3 episodes when it comes to like Din recruiting people for this mission, they're just like, fuck off, Din, I don't really care about this. And Din's like, they got the kid, and they're like, okay, what now? Like, we're in, like, what the fuck? Even though like Bo-Katan obviously took a little bit more of like, hey, we're after Moff Gideon and we got his coordinates, you want to come on our ship right now and go fuck him up?
Excuse me. 100%, dude. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so awesome. And
then like obviously we move into like the Pershing conversation with the Dark Troopers, and like I fucking love like that whole conversation because it's like obviously this is the first time in canon that we're seeing the Dark Troopers, and I love how it feels like it kind of just catches you up immediately of like the entire history of the Dark Troopers, of like, oh yeah, there were like people in these machines, and then like the Empire slowly started like upgrading until like obviously like Pershing said in the episode, like the human was the final element to like
100%
to like unlock the potential of the Dark Trooper. And like again, like I fucking love the way that the episode kind of portrays the Dark Troopers, and obviously we'll get into that a little bit later. Like I like the yeah, and then you get fucking the little like chase scuttle with like Bo-Katan and Boba like faking to Moff Gideon to get on the ship, and like I fucking love that. I just love the like I feel like Katie Sackhoff and Tamora Morrison in this episode like had some of like the greatest chemistry.
Yeah,
like just their ability to just like fucking like sling insults at each other and just like have it work naturally. Like it didn't feel forced at all. It just felt like fucking like natural between the characters.
No, 100%.
And then I love how Moff Gideon, obviously because he reveals it later in the episode, like I just love how Moff Gideon immediately sees through the bullshit of like this fucking charade of like, because like obviously the Imperial who we see later in season 3, because she gets a whole dedicated episode, is like willing to let him in. Like, okay, they're under attack, let's let him in. Like that makes sense. Like that's obviously they know Pershing's on the ship because they can recognize the Imperial land shuttle number and that kind of stuff, and they immediately know what the stakes are of that land shuttle. And then you have like Moff Gideon that's like, that's fucking Bo-Katan, we're just gonna launch TIE fighters.
Yeah, it's obvious that he's very like he knows what's going on, or he has some sort of assumption that this doesn't seem right.
And then I fucking love the shot of the like I think like the most underrated shot of the episode. Like everyone's gonna talk about like, oh, the Luke shots and like some of like the trooper shots and like the fucking Moff Gideon fight. To me, I feel like a shot that I didn't really remember, and I watched it and I was like, another moment of like, damn, this episode has some fucking sauce. Was the fucking TIE fighter launch. The way that it like uses the volume and like you could see the reflections of the launch pod like through the visor, and the way it reflects onto the like the TIE fighter trooper, like holy fuck.
And this was one of the episodes this season that got a bump in the budget. Like,
yes, 100%.
You can tell it was like more. They probably did something more like traditional cable does, where like you have a set budget for the entire season. You have to be careful what you spend on each episode. Because, you know, we had the tragedy, which was just like on the set of some sort of California fields, obviously just outside, and then did you go a couple of episodes later and you have this. And like, it may not seem like much, but it does seem like a big bump in.
Yeah, production. I would agree.
And like the way that it blends like CGI, practical effects to the volume, and the way that it's able to transition between those three elements and make it look natural is insane. I think there was maybe one shot where I went, okay, that's clearly CG doubles, but like for the most part, you couldn't tell where the blends were and where it cut and where it ended.
100%.
And
100%.
Again, I love the fucking shot of them like Bo-Katan just basically being like, fuck it, we're just going in anyway. Like we don't need their approval, and just fucking crashing the Imperial land shuttle into the TIE fighter launcher. And then I love like the fucking Imperial cadets just being super confused, like, well, who the fuck is this? And them just coming out and just immediately start blasting them. Like
they were like, what are y'all doing? Move this ship.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck, dude? How do you think that you can park here, man? Like, do you not understand? We're trying to shoot fighters here.
Right, and like even like going back to like what Ryan was saying, like with the budget, like obviously I think this is some blend of like practical effects and the volume, but like I don't know where the fucking screen ends and where like it's shot like this, where I'm like, holy fuck.
Specifically thinking of the volume here, in this moment. Yeah, I feel like there was some times where like, if you play, yeah, like, I know it's a screenshot, but like further into this moment where there's like a bunch of boxes in the background, they're shooting them like point blank. Like it feels like if you look at the background, you can kind of see where's the screen, and maybe they didn't touch up on it, but it's literally like it's like a fast, like you would only notice it if you were looking for it and you knew the tech behind it.
I think
like there were it did look a lot more flat, but like I mean that's not a big deal. It's not something you would think of normally.
I think my best guess is the entire landing shuttle is the volume, but like the Imperial shuttle is like a CG replacement in the background.
The shuttle itself, and then maybe I was gonna say the shuttle itself is definitely the background is definitely volume, and then the ramp is more than likely practical. Like what it probably is probably like a big blue box with an actual built constructed ramp, and then they just composited the shuttle after the fact.
Right, and it's like what you're saying, like the way that like the show ramped up the budget for this episode's like insane, because like I know everyone's like complaining about the Mando Grogu trailer looking too much like the show. If it looks like this, I'm not gonna be mad.
There are times where the show can look good, and if they're dedicating like, you know, $125-150 million on just one, you know, a 2.5 hour episode, like I mean, like if it looks good, like I'm fine with the pulpy look that Mando has. Like I mean, obviously there's a distinct look between specifically Mando and like say Andor, but it's a look that I like, that can look good, and I think there are a lot of examples just in this episode that prove that it looks good.
Yeah, and it's like obviously moving a little bit later into the episode. I love how like you could just feel the tension with the Dark Troopers, and like this whole like because like Pershing says like because like didn't ask like okay how long is it going to take for them to be fully activated, and he's like you maybe have like 3 minutes, and just like the way that like I know Luke's obviously joking about the EDM and like the overuse of it, but like the fact that it like they used it to like add tension is fucking perfect. because like the way that like this like is constantly cutting back and forth between like them running across the Imperial Star Destroyer and like taking people out, and then you're just constantly cutting back to the Dark Trooper like slowly coming off the machine, and like Din sneaking around, like the way that's like, I think also like as a person that wanted to get into film school specifically for editing, like I think this is probably the best edited episode of the entire series, and the way that it's able to just like, because like it does my favorite thing with like Star Wars third acts, where you have like multiple like different plot lines, and it's able to like jump back and forth. Obviously, like in films, most of the time it's like traditionally it's like different locations with different characters and different planes. But like I love how it kind of adds that kind of feel to this episode, because you have like, it's still the same Star Destroyer, but you have different characters and like jumping around different locations, and it's able to juggle those three just fucking perfectly. And again, we obviously have a little bit of the showdown with like Din and the Dark Trooper, and like I feel like this is the first time in Star Wars, because like obviously we with like the prequel trilogy and the BD-1 battle droids and even like the B-2 battle droids, like it didn't really feel like there was a lot of like, it didn't take a lot to kill the B-2 battle droids and the B-1 battle droids for like even like a human, because they went down pretty easily. But like, and obviously we saw like most of the Clone Wars through the perspective of the Jedi, and obviously we see that later in the episode with Luke. But like, I love how like this one Dark Trooper is already a lot to handle for just Din alone, and like the way that like it like beats the fuck out of like Din. Like even with Beskar, like he was getting thrown around. He was like, you can see like the Beskar starting to bend a little bit with like the Dark Trooper like beating into him. Like flames don't do anything to it. The Whispering Birds don't do anything to it. Like I just fucking love that showdown. And like I said, like it goes back to like how much tension it can add. Because like we were joking about the entire time. Like how could EDM music be so fucking scary? It's fucking EDM rave music. But like the way that like it's ramps up as like Din is getting like the shit kicked out of him, it's like it's fucking perfect.
Oh, absolutely.
And then yeah. Hey, you got anything more to that like
add? Go ahead.
Add to like the Din Dark Trooper scene?
I like just like visually, I think the visual effects on these are like I'd imagine there's probably some sort of live act like practical component to them, but like this is like another example of just like looks pretty damn good. Like visually, like this is a TV show. This is something that you would see like movie quality, and they look really damn good.
Yeah, because like I was like watching this, guessing like how they did it, because I'm assuming it's a person in a practical suit, and then they have like blue screen like probably elements on the suit, and
there's probably some sort of practical element like that. Yeah,
because like the Mandalorian, like obviously it's not scared to use CGI. It's not scared to use like CG elements when it has to, but like Mando as a whole is kind of so ingrained, because I feel like the post Disney buyout, it's like they're very much ingrained into like the original trilogy aesthetics of like kind of that grounded, grimy little bit of element to it.
So, yeah, I mean that they're at least in these shots, they are practical. They're about to move. I literally saw a shot of them moving their hand. Yeah, you see, like that's.
Yeah, so it is what I thought it was.
Practicality, yeah. Like there's people in there, at least in some scenes. Let's see. Yeah, there it goes. She's putting on the helmet now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured
there's, like at least in some moments there's some practical. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, okay, that's even better. Yeah.
So it was exactly what I figured it was. It's like a CG human practical effect blend, where it's like the arms are replaced, the legs are replaced, but like chest up, it's pretty much practical effects.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like the way that it like perfectly fucking blends that is just perfection. And then obviously we move into the like them storming the bridge, and then you get the awesome moment with like Bo-Katan and Fennec Shand having like a little bit back and forth, and like, okay, my God, the gun doesn't work. And then they finally get all the way up, they wipe everybody out, and they're like, where the fuck is Moff Gideon? And like, again, like going back to like how this episode uses tension, it's like, I think this is also Giancarlo Esposito's best episode of the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I fucking like am a big fucking fan of like Giancarlo as a whole. As like anything he's in, I'm like always just like enthralled by his acting, and like the way that he's just like takes command of every single scene he's in this episode is just fucking. It's so fucking good, and like I love like the shot of like, because like I think like when Din's sneaking around the cruiser and is taking out troopers, it's showing like the brutality of like the lengths that Din is. Because like obviously we saw last episode like with Din taking off the helmet and going like undercover as a trooper. You already saw like what kind of lengths Din would go to like get him back, but like the sequence of like him with like the spear and just like choking people out and like snapping people's necks and like brutally stabbing troopers, you're just like, dude, Din is fucking willing to do anything and everything to get the kid back.
Mm-hmm.
And when the shot opens and like you have like I have here in the screenshot of like Moff Gideon with the Darksaber over Grogu, and it's just like you don't even know what the fuck he's gonna do in that moment. Obviously they're not gonna kill Grogu. Like as a viewer you probably know that, but it's like you don't know what he's gonna pull out in this scene. And I think like this is like one of like my favorite like cheesy moments of the episode. Like I love how Din's just like, bro, I don't fucking care about the Darksaber. I don't care about any of this shit. Can you just give me the fucking kid and we just go our separate ways? Like I don't want to fucking.
And like immediately before Giancarlo is just like he's just clocking Mando. Like literally, it's like, I know why you're here. I know what's going on the bridge. I know where they're all at. I know the bond the two of you have. Like he's just like, he literally says like something along the lines is like, you should assume that I know everything.
Yeah, like I love the line of like, I'm assuming they're already on the bridge and they killed everyone like the savages they are. You're just like, the way that he just rips it off and says it, you're just like, fucking goddamn Gideon. And it like, obviously, it's a little bit of like foreshadowing for Book of Boba Fett and Mando season 3. I mean, it's also kind of a callback to season 1. Like, you know, Moff Gideon was the one that did it all.
Yeah.
And the fact that like this episode kind of hints at it, but like when Gideon like finally like relinquishes a little bit and he's like, you know, I got what I want out of the situation. Like I got Grogu here, I got his blood. You know, we can just go our separate ways. And then like Din goes to pick him up, and I just love how like immediately fucking like it's like when you first watch, you're just like, this is a little too easy. Like what the fuck's going on here? Like what's the catch? And then Gideon fucking activates like the Darksaber and like fucking starts swinging at him. You're just like, okay, here we go. And then you get this. I think this is also arguably the best fight sequence. Like I know we say like Ahsoka's with the Magistrate was earlier in the rewatch, but like I think from a choreography standpoint, I think this one's probably the strongest. So I feel like the way that this episode kind of leverages that is fucking perfect. And again, I remember watching the behind the scenes for like the choreography of this fight, and I forget it's not Wayne who's the stunt double here. It's the other person. I forget their name.
Hold on.
During this fight, but like I love the way that like Din is just constantly in the defense, and like it kind of reminds me of like Luke and Vader Return of the Jedi, where like Luke just starts swinging at Vader and he's just swinging at the fences, and like I love how they do that with Gideon a little bit, with the callback to that, because Gideon obviously doesn't have fucking lightsaber training. He's just a fucking Imperial cadet. He's an ISB guy. Like he doesn't know how to fucking wield a lightsaber. So I love the way that he's just like fucking swinging it around like a fucking baseball bat, and it's just going for the fucking kill throughout this entire fight. And obviously like the shot I picked here, like I love the way that like it visualizes the, because like they kind of foreshadowed earlier in the episode like oh yeah, the dark, because I remember rewatching it like because when like Bo-Katan, Boba, Din, and Koska Reeves are all talking, and she's talking about the Darksaber. She's like, And because Koska says like, oh, the Darksaber can cut through anything. And then Bo-Katan goes like, well, not everything. It can't cut through true Beskar. And I remember like, even on rewatch, I was like, that just felt like a weird fucking tacked on line. Obviously, it's setting up this fight sequence.
It's to remind people the spear.
Because like, fucking Star Wars fans would be like, what the fuck? Wait, lightsabers don't cut through Beskar. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And obviously you have the moment of like fucking Din like pushing Gideon to the ground and like basically putting him on his knees. And I love the way that Giancarlo delivers a line of like, well, this is gonna be interesting going forward. Because he was obviously expecting, like, that was the one thing he wasn't calculating for. Is he thought Din was going to kill him and take the Darksaber back to Bo-Katan. So, like, moving into the sequence when, like, Din comes back with Grogu and the child and brings Gideon in, and you get the moment with Din and like Moff Gideon and that kind of stuff. And I felt like the way that this episode kind of like portrays it is like, because I think that's like one of my gripes of season 3. Obviously we'll get into it like when we get into season 3, was like, I felt like the way the finale was kind of setting up Din and Bo-Katan, it was kind of going to be like an antagonistic type of relationship, because the way like the episode like kind of portrays of like Din with the Darksaber and like, oh, you can't just give it to someone, even though at the time people were arguing about rebels anyway, like that gets explained later on. And it's like, and like the whole idea of like Bo-Katan like not really caring about the fact that Gideon's alive, just more the fact that the Darksaber, because like you obviously have the moment with like Cara Dune being like, oh my god, he's still alive, you didn't fucking kill him, like we can finally take him into New Republic custody. And Bo-Katan is like, the only thing she's clocked on at the moment is just the Darksaber. She doesn't care about anything else. Anyone else.
She immediately knows what happens.
Yeah.
She understands what's going on. Yeah.
And then like, because like obviously this, I feel like the way that they use Moff Gideon in this scene is kind of like a ploy for the audience. Because like if you hadn't watched Clone Wars, you hadn't watched Rebels, like you just see Moff Gideon pop up with a black lightsaber and a TIE fighter, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is that? Like, you don't really know what like the weight and impact of this is, because at this point, if you've been an animation fan, obviously, because obviously we're talking about Maul Shadow Lord, like if you're watching this video, you probably are. You know the way to impact this, but like the way that like Moff Gideon is like shouting out all the information about the Darksaber really quickly is like really well done, because A, it adds tension between these two characters, but B, it also catches up like your casual Star Wars fan who only watched the movies and maybe watched The Mandalorian. Like they immediately know like the stakes of the Darksaber. And I love the way Moff Gideon is like, it doesn't matter how you get it, it's the story that matters. And like Bo-Katan just immediately concedes, it's like, yeah, he's right. And again, you're gonna say something?
I was gonna say, it's like there's like a bit of superstition there. Like she also knows that it was just kind of practically handed to her the last time and it didn't work out. So
right.
She kind of sees that as like a way of like her not earning it at that moment. So she's like, no, do not give that to me. I cannot take it.
Right. And I feel like, because I talked about it in season 1 a little bit, I feel like if you watch season 1, you watch season 2, and you watch a little bit of Book of Boba Fett, I felt like the way they were setting Din up is I thought he was going to become the next Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought he was going to harness over Mandalore, take over the throne, that kind of stuff. I feel like, because I've said it before, like I think Lucasfilm didn't really account for the fact that Pedro Pascal was going to blow up the way that he did post Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I feel like season 3, I think with what they were handed with the situation, I think they did a good job, but I feel like the direction and story for season 3, they didn't really get to go fully into what they wanted to. And obviously we'll dive into that like more in depthly when we get into season 3, but like I talked about it a little bit like in the segue into this, like I feel like even down to the characterization, it's like I don't think Bo-Katan was supposed to have as large of a role that she did in season 3. I don't think she was supposed to be like a pseudo second protagonist. I felt like the way this episode kind of portrays it is like I felt like they were going to be at odds with each other. Mm-hmm. So like, again, like, because like I always thought like, again, obviously I could be proven wrong. Someone can come out and like behind the scenes and be like, no, it's not ever the plan. But like, I felt like with the way that it was in episode 3, with like Din kind of like reestablishing himself of like, oh wait, like the cultist way of the Mandalorians that he lived in before of like, oh, I don't have to wear my helmet all the time. I don't have to answer this way. Like, I thought like season 3 was going to be like way more Din heavy, with kind of like Din kind of realizing about himself and like the way that he grew up was wrong, and him slowly realizing that he was going to take over Mandalore.
Yeah.
So I feel like when Pedro blew up, they went, fuck, we can't really do that story-wise. So I think they just pivoted to, we'll put more of the emphasis on Bo-Katan and have Bo-Katan lead Mandalore, which I think is honestly the right story choice. It just, I think like watching season 2 originally and rewatching this, that's just kind of the vibe that I originally caught while watching that episode, because I feel like that was the main unanswered question from the finale. I think everything else got answered, and this just kind of got left hanging. Like, this was supposed to be like the big overarching plot point for season 3. I don't know if you feel the same way about season 3 and like how season 2 kind of pushes, sets up that plot line.
I mean, every person you talk to, every video you watch, like at the end of season 2, you kind of see it bits and pieces in Book of Boba Fett. It's just like maybe there would be some sort of like internal conflict with Din of like, do I need to go this religious, extreme cult way, or now that I know there are all these different Mandalorians that don't necessarily follow the creed but still consider themselves to be Mandalorian, like, do I need to do that? I think part of it probably was Pedro's schedule just being so busy, and which is, if that's the truth, it's kind of unfortunate. It is funny and kind of ironic though. It's like by the end, I mean, we'll talk about season 3 in a couple of months, but by the end of season 3, he kind of declines all that. Like, he doesn't want to be this big part, and it's kind of funny because like, season 1 did kind of start off very self-contained, Din just kind of doing his own thing, not being a part of this bigger universe. And then by the end of it, and then go into season 2, it opens up. He's connected to all these other stuff going on in Star Wars, and people don't really like that. But it is kind of funny that like it kind of ends with him kind of pushing a lot of that to the side and not wanting to be this big like leader, and kind of still want to go back to just being kind of like a bounty hunter for hire, kind of set the status quo.
Right. It's like, I know a lot of people kind of talked about that at large, and obviously I don't want to like blow the entire conversation now on like a season 2 finale rewatch, but it's like, it kind of does kind of soft reset it back to ending of season 1 status quo.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving into like a little bit more, obviously we get into the fucking Luke reveal of it all, and I feel like the thing that, like, I remember at the time when this episode was coming out, like the big talking point leading into this episode was, who is the Jedi that's gonna like, who was like Grogu talking to? And like I remember like the diehard Star Wars fans were like, oh, was it Ezra? Was it Quinlan Vos? Like who was it? And like I remember, because like this is the time like when I started joining actively into Star Wars TikTok. Like I was in Chaco and Elements book club server, and we were like talking with like people, because like I feel like, because this was like peak pandemic, like there was no one really to talk to besides like people on Discord. And I remember saying at that time, like, oh my guys, there's only one fucking person that it could be that would satisfy everybody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like everybody knew,
right? Because like my logic was like,
but they were like, how are they going to do it?
Yeah, because I remember at the time, like obviously being in those calls, everyone was like convinced it was either going to be Quinlan Vos, Ezra, Cal Kestis, and I was like, if it's one of those three, like most fucking Star Wars fans are going to be like, who the fuck is that?
It's not going to mean anything,
right? So I was like, I remember at the time being the only person I was like, it's going to be Luke, guys. That's the only answer like that will satisfy everybody. And I fucking love the reveal of Luke. Like every little detail, like down to like the Dark Troopers tension and like Gideon like using that and like kind of like adding more tension. Like you struggle with 1, like how you do 20, and then them just pounding at the door, and then like they're like, one X-wing, how the fuck's that gonna happen? And like,
well, like it's so like to the crew, that one X-wing, I mean, that means nothing. And then they kind of see on the monitors this guy in this black robe and presumably a lightsaber. Gideon immediately knows who that is. You can see it in his face. He's heard the stories. He knows that is the person that brought down the Empire to its knees, the person that was taken into custody into the Emperor's throne room and came out dragging Darth Vader's dying body. Like, he knew what that meant, and that's why he was just like, he was willing to, at the very least, go out blasting and kill himself because he did not want to. He knew what that meant by saying Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like in retrospect, because obviously I think that the people have memed about that to death of like, oh, Moff Gideon knew who Luke was and he would rather kill himself than see him type dialogue. And I feel like post Ahsoka, that's interesting because Thrawn reemerging back into the galaxy, it's like every Imperial cadet who's worked post fall of the Empire knows who Luke is, except for Thrawn.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious if they're going to show that on screen or not. For like either in Ahsoka season 2 or Filoni's movie of like the Shadow Council, like when he reemerges back into the Shadow Council, are they gonna catch him up and be like, hey, so there's this Jedi named Luke Skywalker going around
trying to get it to his thick head, like, dude, you don't want to mess with him. Because I mean, he already kind of startled. He was already kind of like shaken up by like, oh, Ahsoka's the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. When he finds out, it's like, oh, it's the son of Luke Skywalker. Which is also, I mean, I think it's also very interesting because he knows who Thrawn technically knows who Vader was. So, like, I mean, that's like, I mean, that's, I think, like, if they ever touch on that, I think it may be more so in the movie, unless they decide to surprise us with another Luke cameo in Ahsoka season 2.
I wouldn't even say Ahsoka season 2. I would say if we're going to get a Luke cameo, it would be Mando and Grogu.
That would be wild. Because,
like, I remember... Sorry, I mean, we're going to deviate a little bit, but like this is still going to be relevant to season 2 finale. So I was in Dyad's live for, I forget, it was like a couple of weeks ago. I forget the topic of the episode, but like we were talking about Mando and Grogu. It was like, I think it was for the Starfighter lightsaber duel. Like, I think that was the topic. And Pep was like theorizing kind of the plot for Mando and Grogu because I was the one that threw in the chat, like, I feel like we know more about Starfighter than we do Mando and Grogu. And he kind of pushed back a little bit, like, no, we know more. We have a trailer. Like, what are you on about? And I kind of pushed back a little bit more. And he goes, well, if we're going to get this in a movie, we have to kind of get, like, a justification for why it's a movie. Mm-hmm. Like, why is this not a season? He goes, I feel like Lucasfilm at large is setting up Luke to show up in these shows and in Filoni's movie. So he even took it a step further. He's like, I think they already casted either Graham Barton as Luke or they have Sebastian Stan as Luke. I think it's already done, and I think they're keeping it under wraps. And then they're going to announce after Mando Grogu there's going to be that he's going to appear in Ahsoka season 2 or he's going to have his own show.
That first name you said, was that the stand-in in Book of Boba?
Yeah, it's the stand-in actor for Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Because I think that's been my number one pick for a while now.
I mean, obviously Sebastian Stan does do a pretty good young Mark Hamill look, but I mean, yeah, that would be, I mean, yeah, since he's already done it and people have essentially fan casted, and unless they're willing, I mean, obviously the technology is probably improved, unless they're willing to just stick their guns with the deepfakes, and obviously it was the dead stare. It was how the mouth moved. It was the dialogue. Like, there was a lot more, but if they're willing to move past that and actually do.
Yeah, because it's like
real people.
Because this was getting shot while Andor season 2 was coming out. My logic is like with the perception to the recasting of Bail Organa and like the way that the audience just immediately was like, okay, it's not Jamie Smits. Like, let's just move on. Like, I feel like Lucasfilm is finally starting to learn the lesson, because like I was kind of getting annoyed like when they were blaming Solo, and the only reason why Solo failed was because it was all in the air right because Han Solo, and like the movie would have done better if it was like CGI deepfake. And I'm like, the movie didn't do well because you guys dropped it next to fucking Avengers Infinity War,
I don't
Deadpool
think
2.
anybody's ever I don't think anybody at Disney or Lucasfilm had necessarily said anything about deepfakes or anything like that, I will say.
Well, no, because like not the deepfake thing, but like more of the fact that like they're kind of scared to do recastings at large.
Well, and I'm not going to pretend, I don't think anybody should pretend that people were not prior to Solo's release and while it was in production, before they even announced who was going to play Han Solo, I don't think we should pretend that there weren't a lot of people that were not very interested on the idea of a Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford. I understand recast and whatnot. I get that. There were definitely a lot more things going on because by the time Solo actually came out and people who went to go see it, they appreciated Alden's performance. I'm still not going to pretend that that wasn't a big factor for people who just were not interested in it.
Right. And I think that's definitely like a valid take, but I feel like a lot of it got weighed post Solo. And I feel like that conversation before the movie came out, like weighed more on the perception of the movie than the actual, what people were saying about it.
Yeah. And
I think Lucasfilm attributing that to the reason why it failed never made sense to me. Cause I'm like, it was the lack of marketing.
I mean, there was a lot more marketing.
The release date,
the placement. Yeah. Because I will put the release date out. So Infinity War was already out for a month at that point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think immediately after you had Deadpool 2 might have came out before as well.
No, it came out the week after or the week before. No, it was the week before. No, wait. No, it came out the same weekend. Because I remember, was it like a week after maybe? Because like I remember
May 18th, so it was the week before.
The week before, because like I remember, because like for context, like I've told this story a billion times on Podwans. Like when I was like 17, because like I was around like 17 years old when Deadpool 2 came out. That was peak me fully into fucking Grifterverse side of Star Wars YouTube and like me flipping on my opinion to Last Jedi and that kind of stuff. So like I didn't see Solo in theaters. I still fucking regret that to this day. Like I wish I went to a theater and saw Solo and just threw that to the side. But like,
yeah, so
because I remember at the time, like when Solo came out, like I was like so fucking deep into like the rabbit hole that I was like, no, I don't want to watch fucking Solo. I want to watch fucking Deadpool. And so like, I feel like that also was a factor too. Like, I think like The Last Jedi kind of like whiplash from the discourse from that also kind of bled into Solo's release. But like moving back to like the Luke side of it, like, sorry, we're like getting deep into like deep fakes and that kind of stuff. Like I feel like the way that like this was handled was fucking perfect. And while I'm still team recast over CGI deepfakes. Like I feel like for the purposes of this moment, I think it was perfectly suited. Like I know around the episode, like a couple of days after, people were like critiquing the fact that it was a deepfake, that people were like getting into like the AI voice of it all and the quality of the deepfake. And I know like Schmucks, who eventually got later employed by Lucasfilm for Book of Boba Fett, did like a deepfake of Luke and it looked better. I think that's why Lucasfilm ended up hiring him anyway.
Yeah, I think he was hired sometime after that he did the improvement, and it might have been his improvement that got him on board.
And plus, like you could see it in Book of Boba Fett when we get to that. Like it's like night and day between these two.
And I believe episodes. He was also part of the Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny deepfakes as well. Which I mean, there's a funny story with that as well. But yeah, it didn't, when you watch it in real, like on stream in real time, and you're not watching like a compressed video or a compressed screenshot, it doesn't look as bad. The face is kind of oddly shaped, but I think that's just because the shape of the actor's head that they plastered the face on. Usually deepfakes, that's what does a lot. That's what throws people off with deepfakes, if the shape of the actual person's head doesn't fit the deepfake, if that makes sense. Like which is why I think it looks so much better in the book. That's part of the reason why it looks so much better in the Book of Boba Fett, because the face structure and the face of the head, like the shape of the head, like it looks.
I also feel like lighting plays the biggest factor.
Yeah,
because Mando season 2 was very much like on a Dark Star Destroyer, and like I think the episode did a really brilliant job of like hiding the face until you absolutely needed it. But like if you compare the two episodes, like the Book of Boba Fett episodes, like it's like in bright daylight, it has like the concept of the sun is always on the after, so like it's always in the clearest like possible lighting, while this is like very dark and very foggy, and like it kind of like I think it added complicated layers, which made the deepfake harder to do for Lucasfilm.
What I know Mark was on set for this, but I think they really went all in on him performing the scenes as well in Book of Boba Fett, which gave people a lot of reference,
right,
to nail it.
And I know like everyone talked about like Grant Barton, but like I feel like the original actor who did the deepfakes did a really good job of like imitating Mark's mannerisms, because I feel like Lucasfilm didn't really need to bring back Mark Hamill for this. They could have just done like the body double and then he just films it. But like, and I even think like they may have overplayed Mark's involvement a little bit, but the fact that they brought him in just to do the mannerisms and the body doubling and like just for another actor to mimic was just fucking perfect. And like I remember like, because again as I was going through this, like I was trying to find behind the scenes shots of Mark on set, and I do think they used a couple of shots for Mark. There's specifically I think the hood shot was Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Because
there's a behind the scenes shot of like him walking and like taking off the hood. I'm like, yeah, I think they used that shot exactly on set. And obviously like, sorry to like skip over the fucking the hallway sequence, and like I know Luke probably would have gone deep into that and like how it mirrored like Rogue One and that kind of stuff. And I do love Ludwig's score for Luke during that moment, like that. Like, cause they could have just like easily done like Binary Sunsets or like the Star Wars theme. Like they could have picked so many different choices for like Luke taking down those Dark Troopers, but the fact that they picked that score, like I said, I think it's Ludwig's
and then
best theme.
You have like a bit of the Force theme as he's walking in, like after the action and he's walking into the hangar, into the what's it called, bridge.
Yeah,
you kind of hear tidbits of the Force theme.
And like we talked about like the leak culture of Mando season 2 throughout this rewatch, because like obviously like, as we go through the rewatch, like I love going back behind the scenes and like going back to what was it like being in the fandom at this time. And I do feel like the leaks for Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, and Boba played into the production of this episode, because like I was rewatching Disney Gallery, I was reading articles and stuff, and listening to interviews, and like the fact that like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, Peyton Reed could not utter the word Luke Skywalker on set. That was like banned from the set entirely. Like, they had to refer to him as Plo Koon the entire time. I think like only like 3 people knew, besides like the camera operator and like sound people. Obviously, like I think it was only 3 people that knew.
Besides like the skeleton crew that ended up like going in and shooting the scenes with Mark and the body double.
Yeah, because I think the exact quote was like, if the editor or the colorist or the coffee guy figured out that Luke Skywalker was going to be in this episode, it would like spoil the impact of the episode. Yeah. So they had to like make sure that like it couldn't get out, even though I think it was because like I've always think about the Ming-Na Wen. I forget what Comic-Con she was at. It may have been Rebel Scum Con. It may have been a Fan Expo Con. I think it was maybe Fan Expo Philly.
It might have been Fan Expo. She hasn't been to Rebel Scum Con yet.
Where she joked about like, I fucking knew. Like it was so obvious that it was Luke, because she was like, "Why is there an R2 unit with Plo Koon?" Was like the joke she threw out.
Well, no, it was a green R2 unit. It was something like that. Like the R2 unit wasn't blue.
Yeah.
The blue was added after the fact, but yeah, she's like, yeah, I connected the dots. I figured it out.
Right, and it's like, because like they had to do recorded like the one X-wing, like obviously they knew for probably that too, but still the fact that like the entire cast, even they figured out, the fact that they kind of laid it under wraps was impressive. Obviously they were under NDAs and stuff and they couldn't talk about it, but like the fact that this didn't get out at all is insane.
people connected the dots. They assumed just like this is the person, this is who makes sense. But the fact that like, the trades talked about it. There were no subreddit leaks, or at least not a lot. Like nothing blew up. Like,
right, and
it's
like
incredible that they kept it a secret.
Because like I was reading the StarWars.net article, because recapping the Disney Gallery behind the scenes episode for this, and I forgot when the behind the scenes documentary came out, because it was like January 2021. That was the time like when No Way Home was getting like the insane leaks of like Toby and Andrew and that kind of stuff. Like Jamie Foxx is coming back, like, and like they referenced in the article, like the fact that like none of this got out was like a borderline miracle for Lucasfilm. And obviously, I accidentally showed it earlier, but I also put it up on screen. Like the fact that they had concept artists draw Plo Koon just to add that like extra level of security, because like even the VFX team didn't know, besides the skeleton crew people that had to work on the deepfakes for Luke, because I think it was only like two. I had to guess it was only like 2 or 3 people probably worked on the Luke sequence.
Probably. Yeah.
So the fact that they added the extra layer of like, well, what if we have a data link? What if someone like gets into ILM and leaks fucking footage? Like the fact that they had to go that extra step farther to ensure that it didn't get out. I think it's crazy. And again, I think I share the common sentiment with like most fans of like the emotional reaction to seeing Luke. Like I think I was like John Favreau. Like I think like I was like misty-eyed a little bit, but not crying. But like when R2 showed up, I think that's when that got me.
I was giddy. Like I remember watching it. Like I had it because I didn't have a TV at the time, but I had my phone up 2:00 in the morning watching it, and when I saw the X-wing, I shot up. And I had the biggest smile across my face during that entire sequence.
Yeah, I remember being on a Discord call with like 20 different creators. We were all deafened, and we all had our videos off, and like the way that like same way, like I perked up. I was like, "What the fuck?" And like obviously it was midnight here, and I couldn't freak out, but I was like, "Oh my fucking god, it's Luke Skywalker! Holy shit!" Because like if this was like Christmas break, like everyone could stay up and watch the episode at 3 a.m. If you had the time and you were a Star Wars fan, you knew when it was coming out, I think everybody was up. And like I just remember like freaking out, being like, "Holy fuck, they did it! Like this is insane!" And I remember like coming off mute after the conversation, and like even more people got it, and it was like I think there were like 30 people on that call. It was fucking insanity, and we were all just like emotional wrecks and just like all freaking out. And like I still like, even on rewatch today, like on my third watch, because this is the only third time I've watched it, like I still harbor those feelings of how I felt when I first watched it. Like I don't think anything has changed for me. I think a little bit of the impact is like lost because of Book of Boba Fett, but like not too much. I still wish they did stuff differently post season 2, but like I don't think it takes away from this episode at all. I think that's still the impact of everything still holds, and I still feel like from Pedro's standpoint, because Pedro gets so little scenes in these 2 seasons, I feel like this is his best acting of the entire show.
Yeah.
Like the way that he's able to communicate with just his face, like the feelings of regret and like the feeling of like giving up your kid to go to college, like it's just fucking perfect. And yeah, you go.
I was gonna say, just going back to how we started the conversation, when I said like it is one of the highest rated TV episodes on IMDb. I looked it up. It is ranked 31 in TV episodes on IMDb at 9.8. It is higher. It's higher than any Andor,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah. There might be. Actually, it's the highest Star Wars periods, because there's some Clone Wars stuff that you eventually get into, especially towards season 7.
Yeah, probably the 3 final episodes of season 7.
Like
the Phantom Apprentice.
200 is the Lawless, which is the Satine episode. Shattered and the Phantom Apprentice are 85 and 86. And then Victory and Death is at 20. Okay, so it's higher. I missed that. Victory and Death is higher than the
which to me
Mando
I find crazy.
9.9, yeah.
I may be in the minority on this. I actually prefer Phantom Apprentice and Shattered more than Victory and Death. I don't know. I may be in the minority in that. I've always thought Victory and Death is the most overrated of the four.
It's just the ending.
Because I feel like Shattered is the more emotional episode.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But when I'm going back to the beginning of that conversation, when like I remember making a video on regarding IMDb ratings, and I don't know, maybe it was IMDb or one of those aggregator sites or whatever that made a graphic of all of the highest ratings of live action TV episodes for Star Wars. Obviously, the season 2 finale for Mando is at number 1. People didn't agree with that.
Really?
Obviously. Well, because again, this is after Andor season 2 finished.
True.
And I made a video about it, and I was just like there was a reason for it. People watched it and people loved it. Not saying that people didn't love Andor, but it did something to people to want to go in and give it a good rating.
I still feel like of all of Star Wars television, I feel like episode 8 in season 2 is probably still going to be my favorite Star Wars episode of just period. But this, I think, even the most diehard Andor fan, this has to be in at least your top 3 at the minimum.
This is the first rewatch of this episode that I've done in years. And I think if there are people out there that say that they don't agree with this rating, that they think it's too high, it should be as high as it is or whatever at the top, go back and rewatch the episode.
Yeah,
I will legitimately ask the question, when was the last time you watched this episode? Not clips, not the last moment, the full episode on Disney Plus, on your television, just you treated the experience like you treat any other. When was the last time you watched that episode?
Right, and I would agree with that. I think the last time I watched it was, I think it was the day after. I watched it the first time at midnight, and then I watched it the day after with my family, and then, I think this is my first rewatch in 5.5 years.
Because there was it's been a while prior to this rewatch that I'd watched it, but there was some stuff that I forgot. I forgot the opening sequence with Slave One going after the shuttle, the entire sequence of the shuttle landing in the cruiser. I forgot all about that. I forgot how that worked. I forgot everything that went on.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people who may not necessarily agree with this high rating probably forgot a lot that went into this episode.
No, yeah, for sure. And I feel because I feel like a lot of people fall into the category that I follow with Mandalorian, where you watch it once when it comes out and you just don't go back to it. And I don't know why people are that way. I don't even know why I'm that way with myself. Even
I'm
with
that
Mandalorian.
in general, not necessarily with just Mando. It takes a lot for me if we want to go do a rewatch. Obviously, I think movies in the theater are different, just because I'm going to have to wait a while before I go back and actually rewatch it if I don't go into the theater and do it. But for anything, I mean, after the finale of Stranger Things, I mean, I watched season 1 of the show for the first time and at least a half a decade after the finale. So I mean, I don't typically go back. I do what I kind of suspect what some people do is I will go and watch clips.
Yeah.
Or I will just go and pull up Disney Plus and look at specific scenes for whatever reason, or grab screenshots for whatever reason. It takes a lot for me to just go back and rewatch something for just the hell of it.
Yeah, for sure.
For a lot of people, unless it's completely new recency, they're not doing that probably.
Right. And I agree with that. I feel if anyone's watching this and hasn't gone back and rewatched the finale, I think it's honestly worth it, because I feel if you had to put a gun to my head and you said, all right, you got to rank your top 5 Star Wars episodes, I feel episode 8 in season 2 would be my number 1. Andor finale, arc. I know I would say, fuck it, I'm gonna do arcs. The middle, the second to last arc in Andor, the finale arc, One Way Out, Mando season 2 finale, and then Kenobi finale would be my 5 for live action. Because I also feel the Kenobi finale is also slept on like crazy, and I think a lot of people overlook that, because I think a lot of people get lost in the discourse of Kenobi, which is also, I just think it's a stupid fucking discourse. But I feel that finale also holds a lot of emotional weight that people kind of just overlook.
Yep.
So I feel those are easily my top 5. But
I would definitely put season 2 finale in there, I would definitely put. If we're going to talk specifically arcs, but I mean, I would definitely put Who Are You and Welcome to the Rebellion
For sure.
and probably the finale of the prison arc.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And
like
Rick's Road is also good. Like there's a lot of good live action Star Wars television. Obviously, I think Andor is a big contributor to that. But there are fan reactions that say that there's more to it than just Andor, and I know there are people who really love Andor. I fucking love Andor. It is not the only live action show that has some banger stuff out there.
Right, and I also feel like there are also, I think a lot of people forget, like obviously we're not the fucking category of these fans, but there are also a lot of people that just couldn't get into Andor because they're just not into slow burn television shows, which is fine if they're willing to admit that. Like obviously I find that a little bit sacrilegious, and like because obviously some of my favorite television shows are slow burn television shows. I think those is the most interesting format for drama.
See, I was gonna say I love dialogue heavy, like lore heavy, like if it's in a movie or TV show. If there's action in those, I get bored after a few minutes.
Right, but like
when there's no like it looks cool, but I'm like I want substance. I want I want dialogue. I want lore or it's something like that. Like I want yeah.
Right, but like the fact that like I feel like a lot of people are so willing to like pit Filoni versus Gilroy constantly, and I'm starting to get tired of it as a whole. Like, hell, there's some mutuals that have been doing that lately, and I'm getting annoyed of it. And it's like, I don't give a shit now, but it's like I feel like I said, we're just going in circles, but I do feel like this episode does hold a candle to Andor, and I feel like.
And I think it holds up.
Yeah, and I think it holds up.
6 years later, it holds up.
And I feel like, again, I feel like a lot of the perception to the Mando and Grogu trailer was, oh, it wasn't cinematic enough. If it's like this for 2 hours, I'm fine.
Like I've seen what Favreau can direct when it comes to Star Wars with the Marshal. I've seen how good the Mandalorian can look and just feel. Like if it's a 2.5 hour movie, or 2.5 hour episode. Like, and it's just kind of like it picks, the best of elements from the 4 seasons, counting Book of Boba Fett. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, if it doesn't make $1 billion, womp womp. Like, I mean, I enjoy it.
I'm convinced Mando Grogu is like for sure a smash hit.
I think it will be like. I think the ceiling is Guardians of the Galaxy level.
Agreed.
Which all 3 of those movies are like had roughly made the same amount at the box office at like 800+ million. None of those actually ever reached $1 billion, surprisingly, but like that's I think the ceiling for that, and I'm fine with that.
And I feel like it's gonna hit the ceiling just because like I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that in the last couple of years, like there hasn't been a lot of movies for families to go see. I think a lot of people like obviously like the Minecraft movie did well because of that. K-pop Demon Hunters did well because of that. So I feel like that checks off that box because a lot of people are into The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is the first Star Wars movie in like 7 years. So I think you combine those 2 factors together. I think it's for sure going to be a top 3 movie this year.
Yeah, they just need to pick up on the marketing. That's all they need to do. They need to do a new trailer. And I mean, I know like merch wise stuff is I've seen it like on Reddit and Twitter, like stuff is starting to pop up, which tells me obviously we think the Super Bowl, but like.
Which I'm so worried about the Super Bowl because like I was talking about that also on Dad, but I also talked about it on here. And like I'm worried about a trailer releasing on the Super Bowl because if the rumors are true that Doomsday is gonna have a trailer during the Super Bowl, I'm like these two fucking are gonna just. It's like I want these 2 movies separated from each other when it comes to like promotionals. Because I feel like whatever, because like
well, the thing is though, the Doomsday trailer. I mean, it'll be 11 months out. Like it may just be another teaser, just a bit more details. Like I could literally just.
I do think it's gonna be. I do think it's gonna be the first reveal of Doom. I think they're saving it for the Super Bowl, and I think that's gonna overshadow Star Wars, which I think is bullshit. I just think that's the way the internet's gonna work. So my main fear is that, like if Mando and Grogu drops a trailer. People are going to just pass over and just talk about Doomsday for the fucking next week and a half, 2 weeks. And overly analyze that. I do feel like the one thing I think Lucasfilm is smartly probably going to bank their marketing on is they're probably going to take a page out of Superman and probably Fantastic Four, and they're just going to put Pedro Pascal on these interview circuits, and then that's just gonna fucking
Probably.
carry the marketing for the movie.
Yeah.
Same way that David Cornsweet and the cast of Superman carried the marketing for Superman by just doing interviews.
They need Favreau and Filoni in interviews and.
Oh, I think they're gonna do that. I think they'll do Favreau
Yeah.
and Filoni will be a set of interviews. I think.
Because it's those kinds of interviews why we know technically more behind the scenes stuff on Starfighter than we do of
Right.
Grogu.
And then I feel like Pedro and Sigourney Weaver is gonna be another cast of interviews, and then I think they'll probably have like an antagonist group of villains interview.
Well, you got Ra the Hutt himself, Jeremy Allen White.
Dude, Jeremy Allen White getting asked about fucking the Clone Wars movie is gonna be the most wild ass shit during promotionals, and I'm all here for it.
You think he watched it before production? He got cast. He was like, "Hey, look, Favreau's just like, hey, this is you. Watch this movie. Get ready to burp."
That would be... Dude, can you imagine being a fly on a wall at like Lucasfilm's like screenings and they're watching the fucking Clone Wars movie with Jeremy Allen White? Fucking crazy. Anyway, I feel like we've kind of hit like the nail on the head on this episode in general. I mean, we could talk about the end credits scene, but like, I do think it's crazy that they shadow dropped the show because like this was like right after.
That was right after Investor Day,
and then they didn't
not
talk about it once.
All they mentioned was the story of the Mandalorian will continue in 2021, and then that teaser at the end hit, and then people thought, "Is this season 3 of the Mandalorian?" It took a while for clarification that it wasn't.
But
I will say with the stinger, I thought it looked better than the Book of Boba Fett show.
It kind of did.
I mean, maybe it was just because of the time of day that they decided to portray Tatooine, but man, the lighting, the color, it looked a lot better. Sorry, Robert Rodriguez.
I also feel like the tone was better too, because like we'll get into a Book of Boba Fett. But I wish
we will start with it next week
for sure. Like I do have, I don't fall into the popular gripes of Book of Boba Fett. I have like my own personal gripes, but we'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
And again, it felt natural to include Book of Boba Fett. Like if you're doing a Mando rewatch, you have to do Book of Boba Fett. These two are like linked together. You can't just skip to season 3 and be like, even though I guarantee a lot of people did and are like, what the fuck? Why is Grogu back with Din?
There's a clip I want to find, and with knowing how YouTube works now, I'm probably not going to find it. There's a meme with. I'm not gonna be able to find it.
But I also add like, again, there's like one more thing I do want to touch on. Like, I do feel like, obviously we couldn't get them on this week, but like there are a couple mutuals of ours that did like reactions during Mando season 2, and it's like I think reaction culture also had like a big impact on production. Like the fact that like Mark Hamill was watching reaction compilations.
This is one of the first. This was a meme. Note the title.
I can't see the title because it's getting cropped by the chat.
Oh, it says "Teenage White Girls Be Like," and it's just him going "Bo." Oh wait.
Oh my god.
I remember doing that, and like there was like it was one of my first TikToks that blew. Obviously, that's not my video, but I did. There was some trend going on at the time of like, you know, what video is constantly playing inside your head or something like that. And then I stitched that and I just like recorded watching that. It's like, that's the video. Boba! It was one of my first videos that went like, that actually did well on TikTok.
Funny enough, my first video that did like semi well for my channel, it is related to Mando season 2. It was, well, technically it's not Mando season 2. It was the Disney gallery of like, because at the time I was doing a lot of clips and stuff. And I did the clip of Filoni explaining like them having to choreograph like the Dark Trooper scene. Their kids are like, we don't know what Luke's like, who he's been trained by, and that kind of stuff. And like, I use that as like, obviously I use that as a gotcha for fucking sequel trilogy discourse at the time, being like, it makes sense, y'all. Like, Rey's not gonna fucking like show up and start doing fucking prequel era Jedi shit. Yeah. And I put that as a clip, and like a lot of people, it did really well. I think I like got over 100,000 views and like 20,000 likes or something at the time in 2021. But like, again, it's crazy like how much this finale has like impacted like Star Wars TikToks as a whole. Like we wouldn't have Star Wars TikTok if it wasn't for the Mandalorian. Yeah. But on that note, Ryan, where can the good people find you on all the social medias?
They can find me over at RyanPW on TikTok and Twitter, and then every Tuesday over on the Gridiron Guys as we talk football, Got NFL playoffs, the championship games, NFC, AFC conference championship games going on this week. So we'll be talking the outcomes of those next week.
Yeah. Well, the good people can find me over at Hair Productions on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. Of course, you can find me here at the Podwans podcast every Thursday night as we continue our Mandalorian rewatch as we move into the Book of Boba Fett episode 1 next week. And as Ryan already mentioned, you can follow us over at Gridiron Guys as the playoffs conclude. You can follow Luke at Jedi Master Eggs on everything as well. And then obviously on the podcast, it's just the Podwans on all social media. So with that being said,